I'm Mark.
And I'm Josh.
And this is Alter Ego Comics TV, episode number 114. We're coming to you from Alter Ego Comics in Lima, Ohio. Before we open on Wednesday, we always like to share with you our picks for the week after reading a stack of comics the night before. And this week, we're going to kick things off with Age of Ultron number 6.
It comes out like every day.
I swear, I thought this was supposed to be every other week, but apparently it's every week. 10-issue miniseries by our friends over at Marvel Comics, and written by Brian Michael Bendis, and I'm talking to the wrong camera, so we'll go to this one. Brian Michael Bendis, artwork this time around by Brandon Peterson and Carlos Pacheco, and we've got a time travel story going on this issue. If you read the previous issue, there's a team that goes off to the future to try and take out Ultron in the future, and there's also a small group that goes to the past to try to do something else, and I won't tell you because it's a little bit of a spoiler. So we have Pacheco doing the artwork in the past and Peterson doing the artwork for the future story, and lots of stuff happens this issue. This is the turning point. It's issue 6 of a 10-issue series, so we definitely see some stuff happening that is going to have an impact on the rest of the series, and who knows, maybe on the rest of the Marvel Universe. The cover to issue 7 kind of gives some stuff away in that it's a very weird-looking group of people. So I really can't say anything more without spoiling stuff, but it's definitely one you want to check out. If you haven't been reading Age of Ultron, we still have all the previous issues. You can jump on board and pick them all up in one fell swoop, but it's a really solid event book from Marvel, and I'm curious to see where this goes. Bendis usually doesn't disappoint on stories like this, and this may, in fact, change the Marvel Universe forever until they change it back, until they do something else to change it. But I truly enjoyed it, and it was a lot of fun to read.
And also this week in the Age of Ultron universe, we have Wolverine and the X-Men's 27 AU, not to be confused with the regular 27, or with 28, which normally comes after 27. This issue is written by Matt Kent with art by Paco Medina, and this is a tie-in that takes place kind of in the middle of the issue of Age of Ultron we were just talking about. I would probably read Age of Ultron first and then this, although there's not serious spoilers either way, or at least there's nothing that you can't follow easily. This is more about the team that goes back in time, and it's sort of an interlude story that we don't see in the main book that I really enjoyed. It's set up some of the fun things you can do with time travel. They specifically mention in the issue the butterfly effect, and we see some butterflies that will be very familiar to any X-Men reader that I thought was a kind of a cool nod. It also goes a great distance towards establishing the character motivations in the main Ultron book, which I think is a great way to use these tie-ins. So Wolverine and the X-Men 27 AU, awesome.
Captain America number 6 by Rick Remender and John Romita Jr., and it shouldn't be a surprise that this is on my list. I've loved this series from the beginning, and I'm kind of disappointed that more people aren't checking it out. I don't know if people have tried it and don't like it, or if you just haven't tried it because there's so much other stuff to choose from, but I think this is an incredibly solid story, and it's solely focused on Captain America. A lot of times in previous Captain America series, we had other people playing roles that are familiar to Marvel fans. Black Widow, Falcon, Winter Soldier, Sharon Carter, and this is Cap on his own in a completely different dimension where he's been trapped for 10 years now, and he is raising a child as his own, so you've got kind of Cap as a father figure, which you had with some of his teen sidekicks before, but not to this extent, and it's completely different. It's fun. It's not a fun story. It's a very dark story, but it's fun to read because it is fresh and new and different. And I got to tip my hat to John Romita Jr. He's doing some of the best work of his modern career. He gets a lot of flack from people because he has kind of a loose style, and the heroes don't always look the way they're supposed to. But this, I said it from the first issue, I really enjoyed his artwork on the first issue and every issue in between. But this issue especially, his artwork is really good. I don't know if he was, in fact, I didn't look at the credits, and I'm not going to do it right now, but whether he's inking himself, whether he has a different inker, but the lines are really crisp, and the colors they pop off the page at you. I can't say enough good things about this Captain America series, and whether you're a longtime fan of Captain America or looking to just get on board with the character, you really cannot go wrong with this series by Remender and Romita.
My next pick this week is Nightwing, number 19, written by Kyle Higgins with art by Brett Booth. And this is sort of a start of a new story arc for Nightwing. After all the stuff going on with Death of the Family and some revelations in the previous issue of Nightwing, Dick has decided to go to Chicago, partially because he's trying to track down a possibly alive Tony Zuko, who's the guy that murdered his parents, who he's found out may actually be alive, but also because he kind of needs to get away from the Bat family. And I thought they did a great job of setting up an entire storyline in one issue. You introduce a couple new characters we've never seen before, and they were all interesting, compelling. You could see how they work together. You can see the ways in which Gotham and Chicago are different cities, how they're presented differently in the DC universe, and how they actually make sense in the same universe, because a lot of overlap between Chicago and New York in the fictional sense. Chicago and Gotham in the fictional sense. A lot of times you see things, especially the way the city's laid out and the waterfronts and whatnot, are similar to real-life Chicago. But they do a great job of distinguishing them here. And what I especially liked is after Night of the Owls and Death of the Family, the Bat universe has been like really tightly interwoven. You know, everybody's problems are Bruce's problems, or all Bruce's problems are everybody's problems. It's all about the Joker. It's all about the same thing in every Bat book I pick up. This was great because I don't see another Bat character in it. It was just a great one-off story you can read and enjoy without having to understand the continuity of all the other books, and I thought it was a great fresh start for the Nightwing series.
My final pick this week is Nova number 3 by Jeff Loeb and Ed McGuinness. And again, each issue of this series has been on my list. It's been a staff pick for me every time it comes out. Really enjoying this one. New teen character, which is great for teenagers around the world that want to get into Marvel Comics. It is kind of reintroducing the Guardians of the Galaxy along with the Guardians book written by Brian Michael Bendis. And this is, I have to imagine that this is going to lead into the Guardians of the Galaxy movie, which is coming out next summer. And if you're a fan of the Avengers movie, you'll see some familiar characters in this one. We see that the space threat in Nova is the Chitauri, who are the aliens from the Avengers movie. And I'm curious to see how they play into the Marvel Comics continuity instead of the Marvel movie continuity. The character of Sam Alexander is a lot of fun. He's very similar, as I've said before, to Miles Morales. You've got this young guy that inherits these powers, or that discovers the helmet that gives him powers, and what he does when he finds them, and how he explores the limits of those powers, how he interacts with Gamora and Rocket Raccoon, and the Watcher was at the end of the previous issue and is in this issue as well. So how Nova interacts with the Watcher is a lot of fun. It's another breath of fresh air at Marvel right now, and they're really firing on all cylinders. I mean, yes, there's some stuff that may not be satisfying to most comics fans, but the Marvel Now initiative as a whole, I think, has to be looked at as a success because of the way they've changed up creative teams. They've got fresh, new ideas that are injecting life into these characters, many of them who've been around for decades. But then you get a new character, somewhat new character, like Nova. Even though we've had the character of Nova around many times before, the Sam Alexander incarnation is new and different and fun. So I highly recommend it.
Last up this week, we've got Justice League number 19, written, of course, by Jeff Johns, as it has been, art by Ivan Rice, and the Shazam backup is art by Gary Frank. And Justice League was really good. One of the things about the New 52 is the ability for the writers to tell stories that we've seen before, or use story elements we've seen before, and make them new, or you come at them in a different way. And one of the classic things about Batman is Batman's ready for anything. So in this issue, we find that Batman still has plans to deal with the other Justice League members if they should go rogue. And as typically happens in these stories, a bad guy attempts to get a hold of those. And it was actually really solid. Even though it was a story, I mean, if you just the outline like that, it's almost word for word a story we've read before. But I really felt the characterizations in here were solid. I especially liked that there's sort of a framing sequence, those things, with the words, with Alfred and Jason Todd that I thought added a lot of great tone to the book and really kind of grabbed my attention immediately. Also, the backup, Shazam, is starting to get really good. Billy is still dealing with being the alternate personality for Shazam, and you've got him. This new Billy is not especially likable. He's not noble like the old kid was. And you see character development. You see him not necessarily changing, but maybe revealing facets of himself that were there before. So Justice League was just a great read this week.
All right. It was another solid week. There were at least, a bunch of other books I could have spoken about, but we have to keep this relatively short today. I do want to mention that Free Comic Book Day is Saturday, May 4th from 10 a.m. until 4 p.m. here at Alter Ego Comics. And if you're not in the area, check with your local comic book store and see what they're doing. But we have so much stuff going on. We've got over 8,000 comic books that we're going to be giving away. That's about 30 different titles that you can choose from. We've got a special guest coming from Columbus. We've got Laura Innes coming, who is the creator of a comic called The Dreamer. She's going to be signing copies of that as well as sketching for fans. We've got, just announced this week, the Radio Pilots are going to play live for us to kick things off at 10 o'clock here. And we've got our annual huge dollar comic sale. We've got Red Baron coming back this year with free pizza for everybody. Costumed characters, a costume contest, a whole bunch of fun stuff. You can find out more information on our Facebook event page, which we'll put up here on the screen. And if you're in the area, definitely come by and check it out. It is the best day of the year here, and it's so much fun. And at the very least, you get free comics. So what's better than that? And possibly free pizza, and you get to hear music and all kinds of fun stuff. So plan on joining us on Saturday, May 4th for Free Comic Book Day. That is it for another week. We got lots of great feedback from last week's episode, so thank you for that. We had a lot of fun with that one, and thanks again for watching. Leave us comments this week.